You like that?
Yo, the lies so that you never make it. Hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, canvas open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lots of sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes wet. Focus on the mental, never lose like a smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto. Choose when I get to, never lose smooth on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we running it, maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision and pay me, it's never this way. We indigenous, maybe we winning this crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, this your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, this your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, this your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity.
Yeah. Welcome one, welcome all, ladies and gentlemen, to the Lion Villain Report. I am your host, Russell Wayne. How are you guys doing on this PFF Tuesday? We are broadcasting live right now into the Lions Villain Squad Facebook page, where we are approaching 58,000 villains. I'm not making another graphic until we get to 60,000, folks. Let's do it. Let's pump this thing up to 60,000. We appreciate everybody that is liking and subscribing and doing whatever that is, because we're on YouTube and you can subscribe to the YouTube channel right there at Lions Villain Squad right there, because we are the UDFA of sports podcasting. Yes, that is us. We are the Tom Kennedy. Yeah, we're not the best show that's out there. We're not even the second best show that's out there, but I'm 65% sure that we're in the top 10 or 15, maybe 20, but out there. But we appreciate everybody that's liking, sharing, and commenting on here. We are brought to you by NFL Shop. You can use the link that I'm throwing into the comments right now. Save up to 30% off of your order. And thank you to our affiliate marketing partners right there. If you want to be guilty by association, you want to partner with the villain right there. If you have a business and you're in the Michigan area and you love the Detroit Lions like we love the Detroit Lions and you want to associate it, yes, you want to partner with the villain, call up Mike, 810-620-2167. You can check Mike out on Monday nights right here on the Villain Squad page. And that's the main event football show right there. But you can also call Mike if you want to partner with the villain right there. And then the Facebook Stars. The Stars program will go to support Riker Wayne's World. Riker is my son, and he has special needs and a rare genetic disorder. And it's being studied by the University of Michigan. And my wife's Facebook page is documenting the journey for our family. And she's a great resource. If you're a parent that has a child with special needs, she's a great resource right there. So if you are commenting using stars, thank you for supporting our journey right there, because it's faith, family, and then football in that order. Yes, faith, family, and then football. We use football instead of letting football use us. We don't become buttholes when our team lose, and that's why we can have fans from other fan bases that are in here, because we're not going to take it personal. The rules are simple. And welcome to the program. Got through the hoopla. Let's say hello to everybody before we get into Central Scrutinizer up in the house.
Hello to my friend.
Team should be focused to rock Sunday after last week's comeback win. Jay Smooth up in the house.
You like that?
Love it. Tyler up in the house.
You like that?
Elise Memes is up in the house.
You like that?
Chad is up in the house.
You like that?
Mark is up in the house.
You like that?
Oh my gosh. I love it. Everybody's getting up early with me right there. What's up, Henry?
You like that?
And that gets into the NFL shop stuff right there. If you use that link, we appreciate that. The people that use our link to buy their jerseys and stuff, they give us a small commission on it. It really helps us out using our page. And you could save like 30% up in there. Just depends on what deals they're running in there on NFL shop. But that black jersey, I got to get me one. I'm all about offensive linemen. I think I'm going to get I got to get all the offensive line guys out of the way first, as far as I'm concerned. But good morning, Mark.
You like that?
Fred Peterson up in the house.
You like that? You like that? You like that? You like that?
And Leo up in the house.
You like that?
Yeah. And let's see what the Packers fans think.
It doesn't matter how you're doing.
Okay. Well, okay. That might be a little bit harsh right there, but welcome to PFF Tuesdays. Thank you to all my dorky people. All of my dorky people that want to know about all of the nerdy stats. The nerdy stats. But we can recap the game. So let's recap the game. Let's get in here and let me share this tab right there. And let's go ahead and recap this game. Jared Goff did not have his best game in the world, right? Let's really look at this. 15 for 30, 240 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Jahmyr Gibbs had 19 carries for 71 yards, only averaged 3.7 yards a carry. They did a good job at stopping our run for the most part until we got into the fourth quarter. David Montgomery was really held in check at 2.7 yards, but he did get a late touchdown in there. Jared Goff, yeah, Vanilla Vic running 1 carry for 2 yards, and what a big carry that one was. Sam Laporta with 3 receptions, 66 yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown with six catches. And from the team stats, 19 first downs, third down efficiency, 7 for 12. Doing it when it matters. Time of possession. They had 1 time of possession. I mean, they really dominated this game from the beginning to the end. But when you want to cross-reference that with the PFF scores, let's take a look at that, because there's a couple surprises on here when I'm looking at this. So let's bring up the offense and talk about the offense right here. Now, this did not surprise me that offensive linemen were at the top of this list. Frank Ragnow, Kevin Zeitler, Penei Sewell. And then you got the wide receivers in there with Jameson Williams. Sam Laporta had a good game. Amon-Ra St. Brown had a good game. And then it went backwards a little bit from that point. And the bottom performers, David Montgomery did not have his best game. 49.2. But, I've seen some really, really low PFF scores before. And this kind of reflects the game. This looks like a hard game. A lot of these yellow scores, it was a struggle for most of the game. Even Jared Goff's score actually surprised me the most. That's what I was going to say. Lost my train of thought there. That's where I was going. I expected Jared Goff to be in like the 10s. So, I think that Goff was a victim on a couple of those interceptions. And then one, obviously, you're just throwing up a Hail Mary. I don't know if you really count one of those, but it does count. But I expected his score to be a lot lower. A 55.5. I've seen some of these in the 20s that didn't throw 5 interceptions. So that one surprised me. Looking at their offense, we did a really good job against them. Because we're going to get into the defensive scores right here. What do you got? What do you think of that? What do you think of the offensive performance right there? Any surprises right there? Any surprises? Pass blocking? Who's a good pass blocker? Most of the guys were doing well. Brock Wright, Kevin Zeitler, Sam Laporta, Penei Sewell didn't have the greatest game pass blocking. Glasgow didn't. Dan Skipper didn't have a good game pass blocking, but there was a couple good ones. Kevin Zeitler. And Frank Ragnow. Frank the Tank. Come on, Frank. And then run blocking. Oh, there's some tanks right there. Kevin Zeitler, Frank Ragnow, Penei Sewell, and Tim Patrick. Tim Patrick out there and run blocking. Shout out to Tim Patrick.
You like that? You like that?
Look at that. 84.8 in the run blocking. 90.7 for Penei Sewell. 91.5 for Frank Ragnow, the Tank. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. My running back's coming through there. Kevin Zeitler, 91.8. We was run blocking. You like that?
We're going to bite a kneecap off.
You damn right we are. It's PFF Tuesday right here. We're going over the nerdy stats. And the nerdy stats says that Kevin Zeitler and Frank Ragnow and Penei Sewell had themselves a day.
We're going to bite a kneecap off.
They was moving people out of the way. Let's see what we got in there. Good morning to everyone. Central Scrutinizer, 34% more interceptions thrown by quarterbacks in the week following the time changes. 10-year average league-wide. That's insane. That's insane. Good morning. Breaking news this morning. The Chicago Bears fired their offensive coordinator, and their passing coordinator is taking over. Chicago. Come on, guys. Chicago's out there making changes. Chicago's out there making changes. I thought they were going to fire the head coach. You wouldn't be done with Eberflus at this time? Ashton says that Lions are better than the Texans.
You like that? You like that? You like
I do. They do. That's a great stat. That is a great stat. I felt like a victim on a couple of those interceptions as well. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, interception is an interception. They got themselves into a game. But when we're looking at those PFF scores, that kind of backs up, the stats that were out there. The pass blocking wasn't great. You had a couple guys that were decent, but only 2 offensive linemen. But then when it mattered and you needed to run the football, you ran the football. That's the story that I'm being told by these offensive PFF grades. And the biggest surprise to me is Jared Goff didn't score in the 20s or the 10s. 5 interceptions. You would think that he had the most awful game in the world. But he even said it himself in a press conference. He said he was seeing the field right. Some of that stuff is just crazy dumb luck. I would say that Houston got some lucky bounces in that way, and, Goff paid for it on a couple of those interceptions. But a couple of those interceptions he threw were bad throws. Even some of the completions he was throwing wobbly. So maybe it is this thing. Maybe it is this stat. Dwayne's in the house.
You like that?
This team will never back down. To no one, we have grit. Never quit.
We're going to bite a kneecap off.
That's right. You're damn right. 0 sacks with all those pressures of the Texans that they threw at us. Yeah, let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at that, Jeremy. That's not a bad idea. Let's look at the defense. Let's see how they did on the defense on the hurries you wanted to see. I really don't give a shit where their guys scored. They didn't get us on very many hurries. Get some quarterback hits. They had 4 quarterback hits. I mean, 6 hurries. 6 hurries for them. No sacks, though. No sacks. And on defense, who do you got? 86.6 for Derek Stingley Jr. He had a good game. Our wide receivers had a hard time until the 4th quarter. They got a good team. I mean, I know that they were missing Will Anderson, but they have a lot of players that are really good. I mean, they remind me a lot of the Lions, the Houston Texans. Because after they pulled the Cleveland Brown pants down right in front of the whole world to see for Deshaun Watson, 3 first-round picks. I mean, the Lions with the Matt Stafford trade, what that feel. Look at how much better our team is. Now, I mean, I know that Brad Holmes is a G and he's been hitting on all these picks, but the Houston Texans, they've been picking in the first round twice for 3 straight years. And I don't care who you are. If you're dumping that much talent onto a team, after a few years, you're going to be pretty good. And I know Derek Stingley Jr. was a first-round pick. They got Daniil Hunter on that team still. Petrie, Jimmy Ward. I mean, these are ballers. Devin White, they signed Devin White too. They got speed on that defense. Yeah, they go 11 deep into the 60s. And 60s is where I call that drop off. When you're talking about the good game. And then these aren't bad. These 50s, when they come in there, I think that that's just like kind of average, maybe a little below average from 50 to 60. But when you're getting in this green, I mean, they're going 9 deep in their green. Just when I'm looking at PFF, that reflects that overall PFF had their defense graded as playing pretty good, pretty good game all the way around, like a bunch of the players. And on their run defense, it's the same thing. You know, they're going 7 deep this time, maybe 8 deep into the Jimmy Ward. They played the run pretty well, according to PFF. Houston played pretty well. Tackling, they tackled well. Look at that. They go 13 deep. Look at that. What a very good tackling day. Very good tackling day for the Houston Texans when I'm isolated. I'm just going left to right here if you're following along on how PFF works. I'm sorry if I'm confusing anybody. I don't want to confuse anybody with how this is. But if you're just like, you can see that I'm highlighting, right? So if you go all the way over here is your total snaps. You know, how run defense, who took the most run defense snap counts, pass rushing counts. Right here, coverage snaps. So these are all your snap counts from here on the left. And then this is where their grades are. Overall defense, run defense, tackling, and it's just itemizing them on where their grades were on those individual things. And a team that tackles well is going to give any team trouble. And they were tackling well. According to PFF, they were tackling well deep into the roster. Yeah, and in here you're talking about 2 of those were tip drills on the defensive line. The way defenses are taught to clog passing lanes, they throw their hands up, and that's a result of good coaching. The Houston Texans are a well-coached team, and that's why I knew that the loss of Will Anderson wasn't going to be a huge loss for them. They'll have another guy. They have another guy that is the next man up when it comes to those things. And that next man up had himself a game too. Jerry Hughes had himself a game tackling. So next man up. So those were good tackling. Their pass rushers, Danielle Hunter had a good grade on the interior. Looks like they were pretty good. That explains why Graham Glasgow had such a low pass blocking grade when you're getting good production from the interior. Autry had a pretty good game. So, yeah, they were getting decent pressure according to PFF, and that reflected in the game too. And the reason I say that, you know, in the reflection of the game is because PFF isn't the end all be all. Like, it don't matter what PFF really grades. I just like it because you can get grades for offensive and defense interior linemen. And this is where, you know, they can kind of get their shine right here. You know, Danico Autry, yeah. He had a good game, so he deserves some flowers right there, right? In the coverage, Derek Stingley Jr. was really good. Lassiter had a good game. Really, all their cornerbacks, nobody really had a bad game. I mean, these guys down here in coverage, linebackers, you know, that's expected. Linebackers aren't supposed to be out there covering all the time. You want to stay away from that. Most defenses do. But for the most part right here, the ones that were taking the meaningful snaps played really well. So PFF reflects that Houston had a pretty good game against us. Right there. No sacks. They did get like 5 quarterback hits. You don't like that. Lots of hurries. that a lot of hurries? 6 hurries. Offensive line could have had a better game. I don't know. But what do you think about that? Let's get back in here. I love going through all the nerdy stuff. 3 were Goff's fault. I think 2 were Goff's fault. I mean, maybe the one was, because it was a bad pass, but the ones that bounced up into the air, you can't really do that. And the one that was with the offensive line where he grabbed it was like a fumble interception that just bounced into the air. That wasn't his fault. The tip wasn't his fault. And the Hail Mary wasn't his fault. Paul Jones, good morning.
You like that?
Hey, thank you for hitting. I'll do that right there. How about that? Paul up in the house, Jeffrey, Addison, and Paul help us run this group. And I want to throw up a link to that group right there. Because if you're sick of all the spam groups that are out there and you just want to post some stuff about the Detroit Lions, this is your group. This is your group. Because Jeffrey and Paul do good job at keeping all of the spammers out of there, making sure people ain't going to try to sell you BS on there. You know, the only person that should be selling you stuff is us. It's our page. That's why we affiliated with the NFL shop. You know, they work a deal with us because there's lots of you out there. So they keep all of the spam people out of there with the bad shit. Marie's up in the house.
You like that?
The Central Scrutinizer said Texas are faster than most on defense. They did. They sure did. For a young team, the stamina isn't there yet. How many dropped passes did the Texans have? Seemed like they had. Seems like they dropped a lot in our game. That's a good one. That's a good one. We could probably find that. Offense. See if we can look at that. Receiving. Look at there's got to be drops on here. Come on. Receptions. Drops. There we go. They had 3 drops. 3 drops in the whole game. What did Detroit have? Detroit only had 1 drop. I'm on Ross saying, oh, that looks so bad too. All right, so we looked at the offense. Let's look at the Detroit Lions defense in here. Before I go in there, loved that Z was coaching up the D line with Terrell Williams on the sideline. Let's talk about that for a second, Jeremy. Thank you for bringing that up. That'll be that's something that I wanted to hit up right there. Zadarius Smith, like there were some of the social media that I was looking at that was criticizing him for not playing in the first week, you know, questioning character, which is really kind of dumb to me. But I think that him being able to be on the sidelines and being able to watch the way that our defense attacks is would be an advantage, you know. You know, he didn't have to worry about suiting up and cramming a bunch of information into his head to try to get him out there really, really fast. No, he got to sit on the sideline and he got to watch the game as a coach. And I know that he was already thinking like, oh, yeah, this is the way that they're doing this. And this is the way that they're doing that. And this is how I could use my abilities, my superpower in this defense. So his wheels were already turning, and I just thought it was such a good thing. And Jeremy B, I got to give you credit, give you kudos. you did call that Zadarius Smith might not even play in this first game. And I knew in the back of my mind that it was a possibility that they wouldn't play. It does make sense because the coaching staff never wants to throw anybody out there. So that was a good thing. Yeah, we had D-line sacks. Let's get into it, Jeremy. Let's get into it. Carlton Davis. Let's get the top 5. Carlton Davis coming in top of the defense. 91.3 overall. Pat O'Connor. Now, granted, he only took 8 snaps. Let's not get too high up in here with the total snaps right there, but he did play very well in those snaps. Brian Branch churns out another good game, 83.8. Ben Neiman, he played well and limited. Aleem McNeil had another good game. Even James Houston had a good game. He only played limited snaps. Congratulations to James Houston. Down at the bottom, the duds. Mekhi Wingo's learning it according to PFF. Terrion Arnold had another stinker right there. The rookies are trying to figure it out. Jack Campbell, by the overall defense, didn't have it, but we're going to get into something else a little bit later right there. And then Muhammad in relief, not playing very well because they're getting all these one-on-one looks. Let's take a look at our run defenders, our top run defenders being Brian Branch, Carlton Davis, Jack Campbell. You see, Jack Campbell didn't have a good overall grade, but this guy is a demon in the run defense. You'll see what he's got to work on here in a minute, but if you're following along, we're going right to left here. So we're looking at the run defenders and the tacklers. Now this is where Jack Campbell shows up, and this is where the Lions show up. If you look at the scores right here, especially when you get into that second half, you want to know the reason why they didn't let any points in there. It's tackling. Amik Robertson, Jack Campbell, Terrion Arnold, Carlton Davis, all of the secondary. Great tacklers. Alex tackling. Anzalone tackling. Kirby Joseph tackling. Ben Neiman tackling. Josh Paschal tackling. Brian Branch tackling. Aleem McNeil tackling. Levi Onwuzurike tackling. Muhammad tackling. Pat O'Connor tackling. Mekhi Wingo tackling. DJ Reader tackling. The only ones that didn't tackle well are James Houston and Trevor Nowaski. The Lions tackle. They are coached well to tackle, and that's what PFF reflects, and that's what I saw in the game too. I don't know about you guys. Paschal, O'Connor, Aleem, yes. Shane Waldron got canned. Rome is burning in Chicago right now. And we tried to tell them. Draft all the talent you want. If you don't have a coach that can get them to play together, your team is going to be trash. And it sucks because they have a lot of talent. And if they put the talent together, Chicago could be a dangerous team. But they don't know how to draft. They don't know how to develop. Their guys come in to the league. They get the talent there. And then when they get to that team, it doesn't work and they actually regress. A lot of their players regress. But we're looking at the pass rush right here. We can't get one. 71.5 is okay. 69.8 is okay. But you don't have any front people that are in the front taking over. We definitely need help on the pass rush. Zadarius Smith is going to be that big upgrade. Jeremy, best tackling game of the season. Levi, off topic. Chicago's GM reminds me of Matt Millen until they fire the GM. Same old Bears. I don't know. I don't agree with that. I think Ryan Poles is doing a good job. I think it's the coaching, in my opinion. But that's all right. My opinion sucks. They did drop a lot of money that should have been caught. They did drop a lot and many that should have been caught. Oh, okay. I mean, I don't know. That 3 drops. I don't know where you're going with that. I mean, it was a tightly contested game, and in tightly contested games under a lot of pressure, you know, some guys make catches in clutch moments in the bright lights. This was a Sunday night football game. Some of the people fold underneath the pressure, and they folded underneath the pressure. Our team didn't give up. We just kept coming and coming and coming and coming. And we hung around, seized our opportunity, and won the game. We shouldn't have won the game. We shouldn't. There's no doubt about that. The last team came back from 16 down, 5 turnovers. Go back to 1970. So, no, that's not a probable win. That's not a probable win. Oh, it's feeling heavy on my neck today. Sorry, I had to take the chain off. Oh, Texas were great for 3 quarters defensively. And they were. Trying to find the comment. I'm trying to get into the comments here, but I gotta find the ones that, I mean, I love that you're talking to each other. But I have to. I think Arnold is going to come out. Yeah, I think that he's getting better. I know that there's a lot of people crying about that last play. And it was a bang play. And I don't know at what point. I mean, if you want to freeze frame the ball when it's like 4 feet away from the receiver and say that he got there early, I mean, really, I think that you're reaching. Because, I mean, I can argue that Anzalone touched the ball before it even got there. So stop it. Stop it. But anyway, Arnold had a pretty good game. Face it, it was the toughest game that we had that went, for sure. I mean, you go down 23-7. I bet, but when you say face it, that it was the toughest game that we had to win, you know, I think this was the best football game that the Lions played. Because they had to come back, they had to show poise, they had to weather the storm first. They had to weather the storm first. And then they had to come back from it. You know, teams that have 5 turnovers, that throw 5 interceptions, don't usually win the games. As a matter of fact, they usually get blown out by 20 or more when you're turning the ball over that much. This team doesn't give up. This game has so much value to the Lions going forward. And I'll tell you why. I mean, why this game has so much value, because when you look at the game and all of the mistakes that were made, you can actually see this game as a loss. you could kind of view it like, wow, we played good enough to lose this game. So we have this and that. So your preparation for Jacksonville is going to be that of a team that just lost a game, even though it counted as a W. If you're feeling where I'm going from that, Y for yes, N for no in the comments. Let's see how many people are paying attention. That they're going to get more out of this win because they're going to coach it like a loss. They're going to coach it like a loss. You're absolutely right, Leo. That was the toughest game of the year. They had to grind it out. They made so many mistakes. They dug themselves a hole that 31 teams couldn't have got out of. But our guys, you know, after Jared Goff throwing 5 interceptions, he comes in the fourth quarter like nothing even happened and was completely, you know, when just when you thought, Jared Goff, you couldn't go out there and be any dumber. You couldn't play any shittier. You go out and do something like this and totally redeem yourself. That's right. That's what he did. The fourth quarter, he like flipped a switch. He went into went into the phone booth. For those of you that remember what a phone booth is, he went into the phone booth. He turned into Superman Goff again and just decided to win the game. Completely different person. Now, the defense was already playing lights out. Defense wasn't going to let them do anything. They had opportunities to win the game, and we shut the door. That's why the win is so helpful. And then think about the shot in the arm that we could get. And I'm going to finish up these PFF scores right here. And I want to go into that, but this is where we're reflecting these things. Carlton Davis had himself a game. He willed that. I love it. I love how this team picks one another up. And they played awful. They played awful. But it still counts as a W. We still haven't seen the most complete game. We haven't peaked yet. That's the scariest thing about this team. We went down this stretch. I mean, let's do a little rewind thing here. And let's go back to the beginning of this 4-game stretch. With Minnesota and Green Bay and the Texans, and I guess you got one easy dub in there with the Titans, but you were going to be happy to come out of that stretch, going to Minnesota, going to Lambeau, going to the Houston. I know a lot of people were like, we are happy to get 2-2 out of that. Y for yes, N for no. Follow me. You know, we were happy to get 2-2. And we got 4-0. They won all 4 of those games. And now we get to come back home after that brutal trip. And then we get to play a Jacksonville Jaguars team that is, I mean, if you want to call it a trap game, I don't think it's going to be that. We didn't see it like that because we saw last week is not a good game. So when we get into this week 11 matchup, we ain't taking them lightly. There's too many really awesome things that are going to happen here. for the Lions getting shot in the arm here. Now, Jeremy, I don't know if you can give me any of the updates of some of these guys on here, but I know that the windows are open. Broderick Martin could be coming back. Emmanuel Mosley could be coming back. Ifatu Melifanu could be coming back. We're adding Rasheed Wallace. Adding Rasheed Wallace on the edge right there. He's coming in. He wants to get another championship. He wants to bring another championship to the D. So he decided to join the Lions. If you need him to go off the edge, maybe hit a clutch three-pointer, you can always count on Sheed. And it matches up there. So there's a lot of good things that are going for the Lions going into this game. And I feel bad for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't know if Trevor Lawrence is going to play in the game, but thank you everybody for jumping on here, PFF style. I've kind of got through the PFF part of it. We went through it. If there's anything that you want to see PFF, I'll be more than happy to look it up for you. One thing I didn't show. No, here. There we go. We wanted to get into the hurries again. Lions had 15 pressures, according to PFF. You got 4 from Pascal, 3 from Aline, 3 from Levi, 2 from Trevor Nowaski, 2 from Houston, and 1 from Alex Anzalone. That's good because you're getting pressure from a lot of different spots. And then sack-wise, you got the 4 sacks. And the cool thing is 3 of those sacks came from defensive linemen. And our secondary is covering well enough right now that, a lot of these sacks are coming from the coverage spot. I mean, to be honest, the secondary is covering well enough that they're sitting back there. They got enough time a lot of the time, but they're covering well enough on the back end that those defensive linemen can finally get home. Paul says we're already favored by 10.5 against Jacksonville. I expect that to go up. Iffy and Martin are the closest to being activated. So what you're saying is don't count on Mosley. And that's fine. That's fine. I mean, really, when you're looking at Ifatu Melifanu and what you're adding right there, Ifatu Melifanu, you're really adding like a jack linebacker type of player that can cover in the slot because they used him like a pass rushing weapon last year. If you remember that. Ifatu, I think, had 6 sacks last year. And they used him. They used him like an attacking safety. He played safety, but they were using him to, he's he's pretty big. 6'3" or something like that. And he can cover the big tight ends, the slot guys. So he's going to add a chess piece, I love Amik Robertson, but I don't want him in the slot covering Travis Kelce. and I know that he wouldn't be afraid of it. I know that Amik Robertson would be like, "Yeah, send me out there. I'll cover that big bitch." But honestly, matchup wise, you get you get a better matchup there if you put Ifatu out there on those big tight ends. You know, he's going to give you matchup flexibility. You know, I love Amik Robertson, especially against them little quick, scatty wide receivers that love to get open over the middle with those quick slants. Amik's right there, dude. I love it. I love having a secondary that's aggressive like that. And, you know, we're going to get some holding penalties. I mean, honestly, I think that you could probably call pass interference on, I mean, probably over 50% of the plays, to be honest. If they wanted to, they could probably throw a flag out there and at any time. So I would rather have the guys be aggressive if they're going to do it anyway. Every team is out for the Lions now. We aren't used to being the good team. May grit prevail. And that's the thing is like, will Dan Campbell get them ready? Will Dan Campbell let them slip and overlook an opponent? There's no way. There's no way. They've came too far, and this was such a signature win. I really feel like we're underselling how big this win was. This is like stepping on the throat of SOL and saying, what? This happened to us in the NFC Championship, and we returned the favor. And this wasn't some punk team, guys. This was the division-leading Houston Texans. And they came back on them. Yeah, I don't know. Mosley by Thanksgiving. You got that. That's cool. That's cool. So, Leo says, so I think the other teams are going to watch the Texans game to figure out what they did to hold us and try to exploit. Well, I don't know if you can teach a team how to have really good linebackers in a secondary. I mean, these guys got some players, Leo. I mean, they got some really, really good players on defense, good young players. And I mean, I think in this way, you're going to have to just give them credit where credit is due. You know, you got to give them the credit where credit is due. And they played a good 3 quarters. And here's the thing is what they were doing got figured out in the 4th quarter, Leo. So what they were doing, and I just think that it was just a good physical game when it came down to it. And by the end of the game, the offensive line, our great offensive line, just wore them out. And then they were done. They turned the tide. You know, you get into a Greco-Roman wrestling match and you're playing power, and you could see it. You could see it in the posture. Watch the 4th quarter of that game. You watch the 4th quarter of the game, that you just get sick of. You just get sick of Penei Sewell and Frank Ragnow hitting you over and over and over again, playing to the whistle, grinding on you, and you ain't gonna outgrind Frank Ragnow or Penei Sewell. And by the 4th quarter, it wears you out. It wears you out. So the only thing that you can really do when you're looking at the tape is figure out how to outgrind Frank Ragnow and Penei Sewell. Is it really 14.5 now?
You like that?
Wow. Wow. When Dan Campbell was hired in 2021, the only other head coach still with a job then Campbell is Sirianni. And the 4 others have been fired. Damn, Sirianni. Matt Patricia almost got Sirianni fired. Matt Patricia's like the kryptonite to any team. Soon as they put Matt Patricia in charge of anything over there in Philadelphia last year, you know what happened.
It doesn't.
It's a loss and a win at the same time. I feel it and I like it. I feel it. I feel it. And Dan Campbell was clowned as the worst hiring that year. Kind of hard to exploit Goff throwing grounders. Maybe they need to learn the Jedi mind trick. Yeah, I think that yeah, he had a bad game. Even in the fourth quarter, it was like there was just something that was off with even the completions, but he threw them accurate and he did drive them down the field. I mean, yesterday I went through, I wanted to go through and see them from, I got to look at there it is. Looking at the plays, and it's like, come on. I'll be about Hall. All right. When I'm looking at, I mean, look at this. You're looking at it. They start out in the first quarter, interception, and then they score a touchdown. We punt, and then they get a field goal. Then we come back and we get a touchdown off, and there were a couple of plays in there. When you're looking at that, Jamison Williams, 23-yard pass right there. That was huge because that was like 3rd and 16. And then there was another 13-yard pass on 3rd and 6 in the middle right there. Huge in that drive right there. 2 great catches, and they weren't really well thrown balls in there. And then they came back with a field goal, and then he throws an interception and then a field goal, a punt, and then we forced them to punt, and then they forced us to punt, and then they scored a touchdown, and then we threw an interception at the end. That's the one you really don't have to count. You get into the third quarter, then we just started throwing, trading interceptions. So they get an interception, we get an interception, and then they punt, and then we score a touchdown, and then we get an interception, and then we throw an interception, and then we punt, and then we punt, and then we get into the fourth quarter. We force them to punt, and then Goff goes 8 play. I mean, these are good drives right here. All of a sudden, Goff turned into a different person almost. He goes 8 plays and scores a touchdown. 9-yard pass. 4-yard, 17-yard pass. Amon-Ra St. Brown, touchdown pass. Those are passes. That's not somebody that threw 5 interceptions and it's getting to him. That's a guy with poise. And then he comes back. They force him to a punt. And then Jake Bates hits that big field goal. They miss the field goal. And Goff completes a huge 11-yard pass. That was wobbly, but completes a huge 11-yard pass there in the fourth quarter to set up the field goal at that time right there. But the thing is like, what are you going to exploit in that offense? Because you got tape to exploit things, and you can try those things, but obviously we figured out how to counter that by the end of the game. And really, I just think it came down to wearing down their offensive line and their guys, and we were able to open up and get a little bit more breathing room in the run game. The run game was a lot more successful in the second half. So Matt Patricia, the dumpster holder, that he's got a pencil holder. You thought that was cool until it wasn't. Matt Patricia is like the Grim Reaper.
You like that?
To good teams, if a team sees this dude coming, you should run. Texas, the game plan was very evident. Stop Gibbs and Monty, and they knew that they had sticky corners. So all a team had to do was stop our run. But most teams are not balanced on pass defense and run defense like the Texans. Yeah, and they did. They had the energy to stop our run game for 3 quarters. But this is what happens when you have a dominant offensive line. Because the plan was evidence to stop Gibbs and Monty, but they couldn't do it for 4 quarters. And the minute that they couldn't do it, and we started running and getting the yards in the 4-5 yard chunks, that opened up our play action again, and it lets our offense work. The play action is what we need to have the offense to work. And then when they were stopping it in the first 3 quarters, it was pretty scary. But they opened it up in the 4th quarter, and then our offense is unstoppable when you can get that thing open. As soon as you get that thing opened up, there ain't nobody can catch us. I think the prep for Green Bay wet ball drill could have messed up his mechanics and the muscle memory. That's an interesting point. You're studying that one. Thank you, Scotty. Stroud had a bad game too. Goff woke up and got out of his funk after he hit his helmet with no penalty. This was a dragging team into deep waters. Texas couldn't stay afloat. That's a great one. That's a great one when it comes in there. I ain't going to apologize for winning a physical game like that. Central scrutinizer Stroud did have a bad game, and we forced him into that bad game. Like, Carlton Davis set him up. He said, and I'm not saying that he gave up a pass on purpose, but he knew, because he studied the game film so much, that the Houston Texans had tendencies to rerun successful plays. And the next time that play came around, he jumped the route and got the interception. Great play by Carlton Davis, setting him up nice. On both of the interceptions that he had, it was due to the same type of thing. They called the right defense, and he got the opportunity to jump the route. He knew where they were going. So they forced him into a bad game. Like you saw, we had 15 pressures in the game, all from all over the place, forcing him off his spot, forcing him off of his timing. But that's all good. I don't think that it's going to affect us in the Jacksonville game. I don't. I think when you bring in Zadarius Smith to this defense, actually, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be in trouble when it comes to their offense, because there's no tape of Zadarius Smith on this defense yet. And I think Zadarius Smith is going to have some good numbers in Detroit. And not because I think that Zadarius Smith is the greatest pass rusher. I think he's a really good pass rusher. But I think what comes in Detroit is opportunity. And when you have defensive tackles, a trio of defensive tackles, Levi Onwuzurike, Aleem McNeil, and DJ Reader, nasty dudes in the middle, Zadarius Smith is going to have more one-on-one opportunities than he's ever had. I mean, and I know that rushing next to Myles Garrett was good. Obviously, he's going to demand a double team, but they didn't have defensive tackles like we have defensive tackles. They didn't have defensive tackles. And what is a pass rusher's best friend? It was a one-eyed, one-horn flying purple people eater. Not a purple people eater. A Honolulu blue people eater. Got big defensive tackles like that. DJ Reader. He will wreck your play if you don't get leverage on him. Aleem McNeil. He attacks quarterback. You have to stun him. You might have to chip him with running backs. Levi Onwuzurike. Any one of those guys that go out there, they've been wreaking havoc all year long. You have to demand the double teams. And that's what a defensive tackle's job is to do. I want to bounce a couple of the guys in the middle and wreck your blocking. And Zadarius Smith is going to get one-on-one opportunities. A lot of one opportunities. He might even get to go up against tight ends one-on-one. And he's licking his chops, honestly. A lot of the all-pro players got into systems that really worked and played that system to a T. I think he has an opportunity. The way we play defense here in Detroit and the way that Zadarius Smith, his strength, like if Aaron Glenn does his job and he puts Zadarius Smith into a spot where he can use his strengths the best, then Zadarius Smith is going to eat here. And that's what he sees. That's why he wanted to come here. He gets the opportunity to do. They are going to work a defense to where the defensive tackles are going to eat up enough people to where Zadarius Smith is going to get the best opportunities to get after the quarterback. So I think he is going to be very impactful. I think he's going to impact this game. I went on record yesterday. I think if Zadarius Smith had a line that said over under 1.5, I would take the over. I think he can surprise the league by pass rushing in this defense just because of opportunity. The way our defense attacks, all of our defensive signings are balling out. It's the truth. Am I alone in thinking the Lions won't lose another game this year? I won't bet against them. Henry. Absolutely not. I'm going to take every point spread that Vegas gives me. And, and I have a feeling that if you take that to the end of the year, that you're going to win a lot of those. You're going to get those point spreads. They're going to cover those. Because I still think that there's a lot of room to grow when it comes to this football team. They're 8-1, and we have not even came close to peaking yet. Lots to learn. It's PFF Tuesday here. I am your host, Russell Wayne. You can join me Monday through Saturday right here on the Lions Villain Squad Facebook page. And we're on YouTube at Lions Villain Squad. This show has been brought to you by PFF Shop, our affiliate marketing partners. You can use the QR code right there or the link in the comments. Save up to 30% off of your order. Thank you to our affiliate marketing partners at NF Shop. Support the UDFA of sports podcasting. Like, share, and comment. You can help us out, get us into the algorithm. Yeah, we may not be the best show. We're not the second best show, but I'm fairly sure we're somewhere in the top 10 or 20 that's out there. But it's all because you guys would support the program. We appreciate all the live people that come on here, and especially the people that are watching on the replay right now. I hope that you enjoyed the program. It's faith, family, then football. In that order. We use football to create memories and spend time with our family. We don't let football use us. I'm going to take off. And I love to leave everybody with the blessing right here. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you again till we meet again tomorrow for Football Talk. Lion Villain Report. God bless you.
Hey, yo, the lies so that you never make it. Hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, hands open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lots of sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes wet. Focus on the mental, never lose like a smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto. Choose what I get to, never lose smooth on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we running it, maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision that pay me, it's never the sway me. Indigenous, maybe we winning this crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. It's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. It's your opportunity, your opportunity.